To this computer. There we go. So I was listening to a podcast. I think it's the F22 podcast, and I'm trying to remember the guy's name from the Netherlands. And podcasts.
Don't know.
I was going to see if this name rang a bell with you here. Um, Podcasts.
Sometimes they are more famous in abroad than in their own country. But
Yeah, it's Guido van de Water.
no, never heard of it.
Guido. Okay,
And
so you don't. Yeah, he sounds interesting. I haven't had a good chance to look at his photos yet, but uh,
what
anyway,
kind of what kind of photography is?
he shoots landscapes in the Netherlands. So, and that's usually there are not many landscapes in the Netherlands, but he uses like a lot of telephoto lenses and things like that.
Okay.
But I still need to check out his website.
Yeah,
So
I wonder. Theo van der Water?
I'm sorry,
Theo van der Water is his name?
Vanderwater. Yes.
Okay. I will look for him. So, are you busy? Did you prepare something today or?
No, just some general questions, and I suspected you would be the only one here because Jeff's already told me he's not going to be able to make it.
Okay.
So if you want to, we can go over your photos if you have any.
I have maybe one thing to show you. Uh, I am busy with a project now, and I can tell you about it later on if you want,
Sure.
or now, or what you want.
Oh, one of the things I wanted to ask you about too. You sent a screenshot of you were trying to open a photo of mine that's a large, very large photo. Were
Yeah.
you able to scroll that image?
No.
Okay, I'm going to go ahead. I'll show you how it looks from my end. Um,
Yeah. Maybe later I can show it from my view then.
yeah, but let me get mine up here because I hope these are not wasted. Okay, I'll get it open. I'm going to share, Zoom, share. Now there's the
Yeah.
main page. Then I go into the view all sizes, and then I get the.
But for me, in the download, he say it's not possible because it's secured or something.
Oh, really? Because now, see, where I can just scroll.
And that's the
Up,
problem, I think.
huh?
If you see the screenshot I've made, there's a difference in download.
Okay. So, do you do the free Flickr?
Yeah.
Okay, that's might be what it is. There could be a
Right.
limitation of that. So, anyway, that would answer the question there.
Yeah. Okay. So
Because I'm
actually,
kind
you
of
can, as a free member, you cannot download other people's photos.
Yeah, and it looks like they just changed this on May 15th
Yeah.
this year,
Yeah.
which was, and now there's a way that you can actually view and download a 2048 pixel on the long side image, even
Yeah.
though right now the restriction for free users is like what, oh, not like half that.
Yeah. So actually, it is only from people who are uh, not paid member.
Yeah, and I'm going to see what, because I actually when I tried it when I uploaded that, this is the image I was going to upload this week, but something happened with the upload, and Ski contacted me and said there was some glitch in the system that got dropped out, and it was already after the deadline to submit it, and he asked me if I if it was okay, and he apologized for it. And I said I'll just wait till next week, so I don't have a photo this week. And let me get one of yours. Which one of these is yours?
Uh,
I want to go into photos.
that one, that's a new one, in more above, more, more, more. Yes, the running man in the left.
Okay, I'm just seeing. Oh, the Running Man. Yes. Okay. Oh, okay. You've got the. I can see the 2048 version. Take a look at your camera data here. Now, when you shoot, do you use auto ISO or anything like that? Auto ISO.
In this case, I think so, yes.
I'd say your camera data works pretty well with this shot. I mean, you could say you probably could have reduced your ISO in half and went to a 500th of a second. Or, I mean, I'm sorry, going the other way around, reducing your ISO and increasing. Telling this backwards now. You
Yeah,
could have increased your ISO one stop and
actually it
lowered
was
the shutter speed.
underdeveloped, this one.
But I mean, that's just be an F, yep, another possibility. So I think this works pretty well. Also, when you have people with dark complexions, African African complexions and things like that's a little trickier to capture. You've done that pretty well. Lots of times,
I've done a lot of work with this one because it's part of my project.
yeah. And this was okay. This wasn't one of your shots from Greece or anything like that.
No, this was in Holland.
Okay, yeah, this is a pretty good shot. You've got the person's back is not to the camera. He's not looking directly at the camera, although sometimes looking directly at the camera works.
Yeah,
Usually it doesn't. You got good details on his face. I think he's got an interesting position with his legs
yeah,
to run. Yeah, he definitely looks more like he's running than walking.
yeah.
Um, and the lines perspective kind of draw the eyes into that bright colored t-shirt. And one thing I don't like when you not that having to do with this shot, but oftentimes you see people with images on their t-shirts, like for example, one of those big Nike
Oh
symbols.
yeah,
That
yeah.
is highly distracting if you ask me. I think that's a terrible. If you're pointing your camera at somebody with one of those, just shoot something else.
Yeah, mostly I don't like when they have text as well.
Yeah. But this text is if it's even text, it's ambiguous enough not to worry about it.
No.
I think people coming up the escalator in the back or add character to the end, kind of timeliness to the image and helps drive the narrative.
Yeah.
So what do you have to say about
What I want to tell you
it?
about, well, I am busy with a project, Actually, mostly I walk through the city and see what I can get.
Yeah.
Now I want it to be more to have a goal. So I was thinking maybe I have to make a series. So when I make a series, you are more bounded to what you want to tell, and you have to think about what you are going to do. Then it's not so free as going through a city and walk and see what you can get.
Yeah.
So I decided to make a series, but yeah, then the thing when what are you going to do and how are you going to do it? This mostly this is my uh, how you say struggle point because you have to find out what you want and how you are going to do it. And sometimes you have blocks in your head that's difficult to do and something like that. So I was busy with ChatGPT, and then I put one photo inside, and then after that he advised me to do this or advised me to do that, and that's difficult because you're not talking to a person but talking to a machine. But
Right.
it helps you to make your strategy.
Yeah.
So uh, he said make a series about humans because I'm in the street and things like this. So the first time. I made a series about I was walking near a hospital. There was a parking place and a zebra with a mirror, a round mirror. So I was thinking maybe I can do something with that mirror. So the mirror was uh, the topic of my series. So if you want, I can show you the
Yes,
picture.
please. I'm going to stop sharing once I find the stop share button. I'll just have to revisit myself. Meeting, stop share. Okay, yeah, let's see your stuff. Yeah,
Well,
I mean, I think it's yeah,
I need
planning
to
is a good
share.
idea. I
Well, I
mean,
need to share. I don't know.
yeah, share it should be at the bottom of the screen, center. It says share. I think you can also,
Oh yeah, share. Yeah.
yeah, from the meeting menu, you can click share. Okay, I'm going to allow you to share. And usually, once you click the share button, there's one more share button to click.
Okay.
And I don't see it. Yeah, there we go. It's coming.
Okay.
All right.
Let me see. This is something else. Uh,
This is a pretty cool shot.
this is the winner of our week week in the website. Well, I have to go here. Yes. So I made I was 2 times I was there,
Oh,
and I made shots with this mirror.
oh yeah, that's definitely a target, man. You know, if you got easy access to that, you should play with that frequently. Wow. Um, yeah,
I
this
think
works really well. I mean,
this.
there's some things about this I could tell you that might improve it very slightly. Like for one, that white uh, horizontal piece at the very top center, if you clone that out right on the edge, contrasty items close to the edge almost always draw the eye.
On the right?
On the very top center, you have the
Yes.
vertical piece with this with the alternating stripes.
Black and white.
The white stripe at the very top.
Yeah.
That's barely at the top of the screen.
Oh, wait. Okay.
That one at the very top that's bleeding out of the top of the screen.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay.
That would be because things right at the edge of the screen that are bright and contrasty, or at least contrasty, they're going to draw the eye more than the ones that are not close to the edge. I mean,
Yeah.
that's my only not a criticism, my suggestion, because this is a cool image.
Yeah. So how I go back with escape or let me see. Okay. And the next is from the mirror itself.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a concave mirror, so imagine you could probably swivel your camera around all to get different angles on that too, I bet.
But actually, I was with 28 millimeter, so it's make it extra, or 50 millimeter, I think. Yeah, 50. This makes it extra convergent. Eh?
Yeah. If you would have gone with a 24 or 14 millimeter, that would have been holy cow.
Yeah. So escape.
I think it's a good idea. I think you need to work on it some more, but yeah, again, if you have access to that mirror,
Yeah, actually, there came a man of the security the last time, so
oh,
I'm famous now. But it's I want to start to have pictures with some impact,
mhm.
not only a few people who are walking through a zebra or
Again, you have people facing the camera. In this case, it's good.
yeah,
Usually, it's good to have the people facing the camera and two the the two women walking, clutching onto one another, almost like they're almost ready to fall down. Okay, contrasting against this guy who's just sort of haphazardly swaying along, you know. So that's a good contrast
yeah,
where he's very balanced,
yeah, and
relaxed.
he's walking towards me. That is good as well.
Yeah.
Well, he's driving towards me. Yeah.
So
But
that's
the problem here was the background is a bit busy, so therefore I took black and white.
yeah, yeah, that eliminates some of the
Yeah,
some elements with the color. I mean, I guess you could clone out a couple of things, but they're far enough out of focus. I wouldn't worry about it too much.
yeah, but it's too much. Huh? It's
I
too
think
much
you're
to do.
okay. I mean, I guess you could probably clone out that post right in the center, and
Yeah, that's a bit too much. Yeah.
yeah, and that wouldn't be that hard to do. So you use Aperture, right? Is that right?
Sorry?
Do you use Aperture for your post processing or Photoshop?
Yeah, Affinity.
Affinity, that's right. Oh, Aperture. Yeah, Aperture's the long dead one. Yeah, okay, Affinity. Getting my A ones mixed up.
And
But
then I have this one. Yeah, this was in as well. Yeah,
huh, yeah, with the see-through, probably a squirt gun
yeah.
with
They
that.
were not. This is not so. I'm not so happy with, but it's telling something.
Like I kind of like the potential of a person in front of that mirror with their arms waving around. You see his arm.
Mhm.
If he were like half a step back further,
Yeah, it would be better. Yeah,
yeah. So that's the type of stuff you see it afterwards. And
yeah.
then, and if you have access to that again, think about that.
I think I need to find another place because this is on uh, a, a place where, yeah, for a hospital. So actually, it's particular. And this is the last one. With the last one, I was not so happy, but because the blacks are not so good, there's too much light in it.
Yeah. Yeah, I see where you were. I can tell where you went with that. Although I'll tell you what, if the woman in the front wasn't there and that guy, the reflection of him, that's got good potential.
Yeah,
And again, there you got, I think, compared to that last shot where the young man is farther into the center of the mirror, if he would have been back a little bit like that,
yeah.
would have made for a more interesting photo. So if you do this again, try to get those just as they start to go into it. Maybe you do
And
rapid fire even.
yeah, yeah. But what I don't like as well here are that the pictures are of a different format. So not they are not totally everything is the same.
Yeah.
So I made a new series in the station, which you've seen one picture now already. So this is it's breaking the series when it's all different formats. And well, it's not working, I think. So
Well,
now, now I've made a series of uh, in the station, uh, and this is uh, called In a Hurry. And I used some ICM.
now were you panning with the woman or did you
No,
just
actually,
like,
I was just doing ICM.
yeah.
So it's not penning.
Because technically, if you were panning with the woman and she was sharp and the whole background was out of focus, like the classic panning shot, that would still be ICM.
Yeah, yeah, that's true.
So yeah, that works pretty well. I guess you could clone out this bright area, that bright median in the gray.
In the middle,
Yeah,
front.
right here in the middle of the street.
Yeah.
The rest of it's okay. I kind of like I think I would like this in color better than black and white.
Yeah, I think it as well. This is what I asked ChatGPT as well.
Yeah,
Uh, is a series always in color or always in black and white? And then they told me not always. Just you can make a combination of it.
right.
I don't know if it's true, but I just ask everything. And then this one you've seen.
Yeah.
Oh, and then this one.
That one works pretty well. You could probably get away with darkening the whole thing.
Yeah.
You could easily do that because he's pretty bright. So if you tried to adjust the exposure, show his skin tones and things look more not so bright, a little bit,
Dark.
I think the rest of it would come down too. So
Maybe the foreground can get darker as well.
something else you can do too with a shot like this, and you have a bright background when you have a blurry image, is you can layer, create a layer under this one, for example, and then you could select the person,
Hmm.
then invert it, darken the background.
Oh yeah.
You don't want to go a lot, but some,
Yep.
and then you'll notice that there's like a little outline that will be around, like a halo around where the person, uh, you can see where the selection was.
Hmm.
But then you can kind of erase that very lightly. Don't do 100% erase. You can
Oh yeah.
totally de-emphasize that outline
You lower it.
by bringing in the back layer.
Yeah.
Sometimes that doesn't work that well, but usually it does.
Yeah. So actually, it's a series about movement, and I want a hurry fanatic more.
Yeah, I think especially when you're talking about movement, you might make this a little bit more panoramic, like chop off part of the top, sort of make it add some energy to it.
Yeah, but then I am always then the photo is getting smaller, and it's not fitting in the series any longer.
Yeah. Well, you capture them in a good moment. I mean, not all uh, people running look good.
Yeah.
So these people, it has to be either a certain amount of grace or something really interesting and clumsy.
Yeah.
So
He
with
I think he has a bottle in his hand or something. I don't know.
that's what it looks like. Yeah.
So next, this I'm not satisfied with, but so I got to make another one because it's not having the moment of uh, in a hurry. It's more, yeah, it's over already.
Well, you did capture the brightness of the woman, obviously sunlight, but the darkness of the background. That works well.
Yeah.
Um, I don't think that's I think, yeah, that's not a bad photo at all. Um, her head is smack dab in the center, or just a little bit above center vertically.
Mhm.
I don't know, you might be able to crop out some of the top to raise her head a little.
It's possible.
That would bring her more prominence to her in the image.
Yeah.
But the very top part of that bust doesn't, you would want to keep those reflections in there, but the stuff at the very top that doesn't really add much to the scene. But yeah, is this your last shot in this sequence?
I think so, yes. Yeah.
Okay, now you've got
I've
big
got
gaps
four.
between your image numbers. So
Oh,
you're obviously not, those are ones you've chosen out of that
yeah.
sequence. So the ones that you decide you don't want to use. Because yeah, no matter how good you are, most of the photos you take aren't any good.
Mhm.
So even if you get one shot out of 500, usually that's enough to make you a good photographer, even though, you know, that's
Yeah,
very low percentage of success rate.
actually I've done it two times now, and tomorrow I go again because I want to have a photo with the stairs because the stairs are horizontally, and then somebody is walking up the stairs, running hopefully, and I want to this one in the series as well, and maybe I want to replace the last one.
Yeah, I've tried to get some stair shots, especially if you get like a big monuments or something like that, where you have a really broad staircase, tall one with people going up, so you can have the entire frame filled with the stairs and just have a person, framed by the stairway. But I've never had any luck with that yet,
Mm.
and I've done it plenty of times.
Yeah. And I think I'm going to do there is ChatGPT good for as well. So thinking about what gear you have and how you are going to do it. Huh?
Yeah.
So they make a list for you. You talk with them. Will I do it with a 70 20 200 or will I do it with a 28 millimeter? Is it fitting in the series? Things like that.
So that was just Chat GPT, right?
Yeah.
Because I know there are several of those. It sounds like Chat GPT is doing a good job for you.
Yeah, so you can put in your photo, and then he tells you what is wrong and what is good and what is wrong. You don't have to agree with them, but it's helping you as well.
Yeah. Now, do you always shoot JPEG or do you shoot RAW?
Oh,
Good. Um,
but I have a lot of pictures in this series. I have maybe for this four, I have maybe 400, so 100.
yeah. But that's good. I mean, that's the path.
Yeah,
You can think of those as failures, but those are just the path
yeah.
you get to get a successful photo. You don't need They didn't have to be thought of as failures.
And here I have one as well. This one I like as well
Oh yeah.
because everything is moving, only the girl a little bit. And I want to have her stand still, but yeah, it's difficult.
Yeah. Well, these people with phones, oftentimes you can get them standing still and get blurred motions like that. Also, when I do my stereo photography, if somebody's using their phone, they'll usually stay put long enough for my two stereo shots.
Yeah, but this one is busy as well, huh? So yeah,
It's
you don't have
busy,
to.
but it's got a rhythm. I mean, that's what saves a busy picture is if it's got some kind of rhythm
Yeah,
or repeating patterns, which is be the same thing as a rhythm. Um, and in this case, with her, since she's not out of focus, the eye is drawn to her.
yeah. But I had a lot of shots. I was busy with a bicycle as well, yeah.
Yeah,
But this is not fitting in the series.
that's a good try. I mean, I guess if you could, I don't know how low are you when you shoot shot from this? Were you how close to the floor?
Uh, Here I'm standing, I think.
You might have been better off if he would have been about axle height with the camera.
Yeah.
That might have made it give you more options.
Yeah, you cannot have a tripod in a station as well, so you need to do it out of hand.
Oh yeah, tripod, no tripod, yeah.
But it's nice to do. I'm busy with it. My wife is in the garden, and I'm busy with this.
Yeah. Hey, that's the same thing with me. Yeah, my wife is in a process. She's got this hugely ambitious project in her patio with these raised beds and all this stuff. It's like, holy cow. And so this time of year I got lots of flower pictures to take. So I'm posting a lot of flower photos.
Yeah.
But I kind of like shooting flower photos, but I think I like more doing architecture and city scenes and things like that. But when you have right out your back door all these flowers, as they kind of call your name, it's like, hey, come out and take my picture.
Yeah. Yeah, my wife is busy with investigating all the things you can do with all the plants and
Oh yeah,
finding out when they have to get water, this in the sun, that not in the sun. And
right.
yeah, I am doing the same because I'm just thinking of my photos and finding out what I do and what I don't do and what decisions I make.
Yes. And the way you make those decisions is by making mistakes. You go, well, I'm not going to do that again.
Yeah, but by your mistakes you learn,
Yep.
huh?
I mean, it helps to have some guidance, like YouTube videos or teacher or something like that. Books get you pointed in the right direction. But mostly what you learn on your own by trial and error and practice.
Yeah,
Looks like you're
practice.
getting out and shooting a lot.
Yeah,
Like, I mean, if the only thing you do is shoot once a weekend every month,
yeah.
yeah, you don't get enough practice. Although in the wintertime, I get a lot more practice post-processing than shooting.
Yeah, in the post processing, ChatGPT helps you as well
Yeah. Okay.
because sometimes you don't know. They say, well, you have to, for example, you have to do something, and then you don't know how this works. So then I asked him how you do this in Affinity, and then he showed me how to do it.
Now see if you can open that 7444.
Sorry?
The your DSC-7444. Can you open that?
Yeah.
That one, yes. Okay. And then that's an Affinity.
In Affinity?
Yeah, that is an Affinity right now.
This is Bridge.
Okay, so if you open, what happens when you open that in Affinity?
I opened that in Affinity. Okay. Just I have to take out this.
All right. Now, what kind of selection tool do you have here?
Uh, Here you have selection.
Can you select the man?
Oh, you have to do this then. First, I have to lock it off.
Okay, can you expand the selection?
See, let me see. Let's fix this thing. Add.
Like about 30 pixels?
The leg, you mean? Or I'll expand the selection, you say?
Yeah, okay, just don't worry about that right now. Now, can you use radial gradients?
Let's see. This is I think it's this one. Up. This one?
Yeah, see if you can select it so that the man, like an oval gradient, selects the man around your selection. Maybe you know what yeah, the gradient should work and keep the selection. What you need to do first, before I'm getting ahead of myself. Can you invert that selection?
Yeah.
No, not, yeah. Do the opposite. I had said the wrong thing. Kind of select the opposite of it. So yeah, just Control Z to get that back. Command or Control Z. There we go. And make it so that the outsider out of the man is selected.
I know. So if I want to do this, then
No,
everything.
no, I don't want to
Okay.
invert the
Oh,
colors.
it's invert the pen. Okay.
Just invert the selection.
Okay.
Reverse the selection.
Let me see.
And if you want to, you can send me this photo in chat or something like that. I got an idea. I got an idea with this, and
I can send you by if you send your email. Or I can put it with WeTransfer, right? Maybe.
yeah, maybe in the chat window if it accepts it.
Okay. Let me see.
Be a good exercise to do this. Yeah, WeTransfer is going to work. Put my phone on the charger while I'm doing this.
The 444 was it?
Yes.
7444. So, copy. Let me see. Maybe it's working.
Looks like you got that far.
Now, what I have to do?
Now with the Zoom thing at the bottom,
Chat.
but now you're sharing, you might not be able to see that, but there's a chat. You can paste that into chat.
Yeah.
Aha.
There it is. Oh, you see it now or not?
Yeah, I'm just downloading right now.
Okay.
And there it is. Okay. I'm going to like find Zoom again. That's what I'm going to do. And then now you should be looking at my Adobe Camera Raw screen.
It's green.
Can you see your picture? You might
No.
need to stop sharing.
Okay. Yeah.
And then you see, yeah, and you see your picture here. This is an Adobe Camera Raw. Yeah, I can do stuff with it here, do all kinds of things with it.
I don't see it yet.
Oh, okay. Make sure. Tell you what, I am going to I'm just going to stop sharing and reshare like that. Then I'm going to go back to.
Yeah, now I see something.
Yeah, you're seeing a dandelion I'm working on like that. So if you see this whole image, it's like that. Um,
Very nice.
you can find your image again.
There it is.
There's your picture. So here I'm in Adobe Camera Raw. This is the raw editor, so I can do all this kind of crazy stuff with it. You know, make it darker or whatever. You know, you can start to see
Yeah.
very. That's one cool thing about ICM. You got a whole bunch of flexibility. You're not stuck to all the straight lines and things like that. But what my idea here is, I'm going to go ahead and open this in the Photoshop. I'm going to select the man. And I'm going to do selection, modify, expand by 30 pixels. So it's going to swell that selection. Also, while I'm at it, I've got my layers. I'm going to create another layer in the background. I'll have it ready to play with. Then I'm going to invert the selection. So the selection is outside of that. Now, again, with the layers, I'm going to add, um, come on, curves. And you notice here in the selection, the only thing that's not, all the white is what's going to be editable.
Mhm.
So now I can go into the gradient tool. I'm going to select radial. I'll make it kind of elliptical. This might not work at all, but we'll find out. But you'll see, you'll see where I'm going with this.
Affinity, this works as well.
Yeah, and then what I can do with the curves, I'll bring the curves slider tool over here. So I can make, you know what? I messed up. I need to restart this. I'm going to get rid of this. Go back with the selection again. Select, modify, expand. 30. Unless I'm getting all myself all side goggled here. Let me see. So I'm going to go back to the curves. This time I'm going to reverse the gradient.
Yeah, now it's getting darker and lighter. With ICM, the light is always a problem, eh? Too much light.
Yeah, I was trying to make it like a high key type of image.
Yeah.
And then when you get in, here's that halo I was talking about. And I'm going, now I've got this center layer. It doesn't have anything to do with the gradient part here right now. So what I'm going to do, this might work, it might not work. Turn it down to about 50% opacity. Maybe a little more.
You have to make it softer.
No, it's re-racing.
It's not moving.
You know, it's because, well, let's try it like this. I'm going to go back. I'm going to go ahead and go up to 100%. Now I'm going to merge it, those two layers, put that back on. Now that's still there. Oh, well, I think you're getting my idea here. The halo is not what I intended. I was trying to figure out how to reduce the halo. So the halo selection
Yeah.
is still there, but I was trying to get a high key version of this image with a really bright background and maybe making it like this, keeping his shadow. So it would look more like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, just as an idea.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
I need to work on figuring out how to make sure I don't get that halo because without the gradient, the halo, the gradient is the elliptical gradient is causing the halo.
Yeah.
Even though I could reverse that.
Yeah.
Another way to do that though would be get rid of this altogether, create another image, select this layer. I'll just use levels. Just try without expanding the selection. Berta selection. Yeah, all right, come on. Anyway, I don't get too far for lost in the weeds here. So yeah, I think your concept of running is a good one.
hmm
And it should be easy to do.
Yeah. You are using the selection, and then
Yeah,
a layer under it. I'm using more with painting. So like, I think it's more easy to do it like this, as you say.
it can be. Well, it depends on where it works for you.
Yeah.
You know, if it works for you, there's nothing wrong with that.
No.
I didn't want to do that. Bring this back. So anyway, if you were to go high key, and that's too exaggerated with the edges.
Yeah.
Anyway, so
The corners are a bit. The
yeah, I can.
right corner is a strange color.
Yeah, like some of what I've been doing here lately. This is another panorama of a flower.
Wow.
I've got, I think there's 8 images stitched here. But if you go full size,
Wow.
you can see the thrips, the
You
little
can feel it.
parasitic bugs, like the little guy right there, that one up here.
You can hear the music.
Yeah. Another, what else have I got here? That's just, and here you can see a pre-edited version. You notice all this stuff here? These are artifacts from focus stacking.
Okay.
And here you can actually see a trail of a thrip. This is a focus stack, so it's got like 100 images. So you can kind of see a trail of a thrip that's walked along here. There's another thrip. There's a thrip.
Hmm.
You see the halo.
Yeah. A lot of work.
Yeah, and this is just one image of in which and here's a when you're talking about with layers, what I do, I put I have a selection because duplicate layer and remove subject. So I'll select the subject, expand the selection, then I will fill the selection with a contextual fill.
Yeah.
And I'm going to do this right now. I got one action in Photoshop that does this, and it's going to create a new layer with just the background, or at least the background I want to deal with. So there's the one I created. So I've got two layers here.
One for the background and one for the front. For the
Yeah.
front.
And then I can go back and select the subject,
Oh yeah.
invert the selection, use the eraser tool. And this is a kind of a ham-handed way to do it because I'm just, see how you get, well, I didn't, no, I didn't get this part selected. Let me
No.
get this part selected here with it. Invert. Then you simply use the eraser tool to blow away those halos.
Now it's easy.
Now I'm messing up there with that, but you see, because
Yeah.
the beard wasn't selected.
Yeah.
But then you can, because those halos are artifacts from focus stacking. Because
Yeah.
as you focus stack, your image gets smaller or smaller or bigger or bigger depending on how you do it. So you end up with this kind of a shadow because of focus breathing.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's the same principle that I was doing with the man as the silhouette.
Yeah.
So
I go to find out how it works in Affinity as well.
yeah,
Yeah.
there's bound to be. I think Affinity probably does it. This is a very basic type
Yeah.
of thing.
Yeah.
Um,
But when you know it, you can use it. When you don't
yeah,
know,
and a lot of times you need to be uh, you need to be get used to where you find this stuff, so you
yeah,
don't have to look it up again. So you
yeah,
know which selections you have to click and things like that. If you practice that 4 or 5 times, you can do it without thinking, and that simplifies. It makes it a lot less stressful to do processing.
yeah. Sometimes you need to be slow and know what you're doing, and
Yes.
making experience because uh, yeah, you say you don't have time, but you have time, so make use of it.
Yeah, and that dandelion shot, I did this yesterday. You can see where as the image, I'm clicking through all the images.
Wow.
So you can sort of see, make a little video of what's sharp and what's not.
And then you choose the best ones, the sharp ones, and you go
No,
from.
it literally, then I start out and here's the image, and I haven't processed. I'm not, see, it's got a halo, it's well around it.
Mhm.
So that's what I need to edit out. I need to touch out little things like these little
Yeah.
bobbles and stuff like that. But you, and this all together. So there's a little piece of each one of these images, however many there are.
Maybe 30 or
34 images. There's a 34 images altogether, and a
yeah.
little piece of every 30 of each image is in that focus stack. And something else that I do, and here is how I organize my photographs. I call them Photo Prime. And you use Adobe, it looks like you were using Adobe Bridge
Yeah.
to begin with. And I do this in Adobe Bridge. So everything is alphabetized or used as a date. So everything is in chronological, can be in chronological order. So in file name is going to be in chronological order. So the most recent photos I've taken are, some of these are not ready because some of these aren't titled yet. Yeah, a lot of these haven't been titled yet.
You use titles for the photos?
Yes. I always use, like, for example, in this photo here, there's no title coming up, but that's 2017, April 10th. And then I have the garden, and it's number 57 on that
Mhm.
particular day. But all the other shots on that day, that's the only shot I got that day. And I probably shot 1,500 shots that day.
Yeah, yeah. So it's easy to find it now.
Yeah, and this one here is intentional camera movement.
I'll see.
Those are butterflies. I was
Are busy
walking
with it
through
as well.
a trail. But this is a quick way to, that's intentional camera movement.
Terrain.
That's the London Underground. That's a quick way to find your photos.
Huh.
So, and then you have tags. And do you use, not tags, they're called keywords? Do you use keywords in Bridge?
No,
You
not yet.
can't. And that's makes it so it's, if you do this, you can zero in on just like all the door photos I've taken. If I click that, no, I don't want that one. I'm in the wrong way here. Let's go back to, I click this. These are all my Cooper Smith travel of north of London. Or
You
I can,
use collections as well, or?
I don't use collections. I think collections is a good idea, but I haven't played with it. I know the keywords works well. So this is all one collection. These are all what I consider to be my favorite photos. Um, if you can see this pane over here, it says collections. Maybe they do call this collections. But here's
No.
here's photos here. I got 47 photos from Chicago. Just click that and I can see all my Chicago shots.
Mm.
Deselect that. Um, There's droplets on rose petals. That's not even a rose petal. I need to rename those. That's a,
I use collections for temporary things.
oh
So
yeah.
you make a directory and there you put photos in, and then you go from there. You go to the original files.
But these are all reflections. Some of these need to be are duped that I need to go. Here's another ICM.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
nice.
and when I put where I put these, I create small images, and here they are. There's 7,500 images here. They're all less than a megabyte each.
Hmm.
So all those images are comes to like 6 gigabytes,
See.
which isn't a lot. So for every one of my what I consider my best photos, that's all it takes as a catalog.
Hmm.
And then I know where they'll be because I have uh, hard drives that have the specific type of things. I got one hard drive that has locations and flowers in one, and the other hard drive has uh, other macros. In just different categories. So all I have to do is search for the title, and there it is.
Yeah.
If you select more than one, you'll get more than one kind of keyword.
Yeah. It was easy.
Yeah,
Yeah. I
it
have
makes
done that so before I had a Photoshop, but now I'm on Affinity again, so I have to find out how it works as well.
yeah,
But I think it's a good way to use keywords as well.
yeah. Now I just recently got off of. I read that you could, because I don't use Adobe Lightroom, and a lot of people do. And the problem I run into is I have a lot of focus stacked images,
Hmm.
and it doesn't make sense to import like 300 images for one image,
Hmm.
and that eats up all your hard drive space. It
Yeah.
makes it's really cumbersome and it takes a long time to get loaded up. But I learned that you can use a directory, so you can just browse through your
Yeah.
uh, with Adobe CC, the Adobe Creative Cloud, and that sounded like, wow, this is just exactly right. It's very much like Bridge, but it doesn't allow you to rename anything,
No.
which is, I think it's critical to rename things. And Bridge has got a very robust renaming feature.
Yeah.
And Adobe Creative Cloud literally has nothing for renaming.
No.
And if you Google it, you have all these people complaining about it. They've been requesting it now for 2 years since Adobe Creative Cloud came out. And that should have been a brainer for Adobe to do, but they haven't done it.
No. In the Lightroom, everything is big in the databases as well. So it's very slow mostly, and
Yeah.
in Bridge you can easy rename things and put somewhere else, and more easy.
So when you import your photos, what's your work? This is one of the things I want to ask when Jeff was here too about your workflow. When you get
Right.
home and you got your memory cards,
Mhm.
what are your steps? What do you do first? What do you do second, and so forth?
No, I go to all my images and I give them stars, and then maybe the best I give 2 stars, and the normal I think useful is 1 star.
Mhm. You talking about
Then
the stars here in Bridge like this?
yeah,
Yeah,
and then I go to the same directory and then only the stars,
yeah.
and then I decide what to do. Uh, if for example, I can use it in a Siri. I give it 1 star, and then I start with Affinity to edit, and maybe later on I think no, it's nothing. Then I take the star out. So and then if it's ready, I put it in a directory,
Okay.
and there are my best 4 photos
Now you put in a directory. What do you mean by putting in a directory?
in the collection. Sorry,
Okay. Now
and then
do you keep
if
your photos in discrete folders on your computer?
yeah, and then when after a month, I go through it again, and then I put it in a directory
Okay.
in my computer.
Okay. Now,
Uh,
do you ever have trouble with your directory or collections or anything or your stars
no,
missing them? So that's very stable.
no, it's stable.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's a perfectly legitimate and usable. I mean, I think the main thing is you're doing something as opposed to somebody just copying the files into the computer and being haphazard about it.
Mhm.
I think it's very important if you're going to be serious about photography to have some kind of organization.
And I delete every after a while. I delete every uh, Affinity file, and I put JPEGs, only JPEGs in my directory, because it's costing a lot of room, these Affinity files. So I don't have normally I don't I only have for 1 month Affinity files in my computer, and after 1 month I delete them again.
Yeah. Yeah. Now let's see if I get up my hard drive here. This is an idea of this is how Telecom Focus looks like, FYI. So you can see some of the focus stacks. But if I get into I'll start a new folder, and here I've got my now here are my photos. I've got April and May. Now I've got left in this hard drive, I've got 70 like almost 740 gigabytes left.
Mhm.
And this is an 8 terabyte solid state drive.
Yeah.
That shows you how much this is eating up.
more or less full.
Yeah, so I constantly, yeah, see, there's 2.2 terabytes just for April and May. Now, most of those photos are just going to be um, stuff I either eventually one day I'll probably think I'm going to throw away, but I just can't feel like throwing away yet. Although I do delete a lot of photos. But what I'll do then, I'll copy them over in a like a hard drive for just 2025. So I got one hard drive that'll just haul all of 2025 or all of 2024 and so forth. So I'll transfer this stuff off because by the time I start into June, I'm gonna have to get rid of April. So just to make room for it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But it's important to make sure you keep that stuff backed up.
Yeah, I back up every 1 or 2 weeks
Yeah. Now, do you do that manually by plugging in
manually.
hard drives and driving? Yeah, that's what I do too.
So then I don't lose anything. Only in a bad case, I lose my last 2 weeks. So
Yeah. Now, back when before I retired, before I retired, I ended up working from home because of COVID. But I used to have a real nice office downtown Bloomington, so I could have my backup files right there in my office. So if the house blew up, I would still have my backup files in my office desk drawer, or
mhm.
vice versa.
Very
Right
nice.
now, I've got everything all in this house,
Mhm.
even though I've got two copies of everything. If the
Yeah,
house burns down, they're still lost. So I need to get a safety deposit box or something like that to put those
yeah,
backup files.
better.
I'm gonna stop sharing. Let me see if there's something else I want to. Oh yeah, one other thing I wanted to share too. This is totally different subject and has to do with reflections. And if I can find this, I put this up my photography club. We have 2020. I do a little thing every month and a half for the history of photography. Uh, and I'm looking this particular image, and I was showcasing this photo. Vivian Meyer from
Very nice.
1954. There's a reflection,
Yeah,
a selfie, and what do you think of that shot?
very good. Good shot. I
Now,
don't know exactly what's going on. I see a photo of two people. Looks like a photo, yeah? And this is not a reflection, I think.
okay, so she is taking a photo of these two women in a restaurant or through a glass window. Now she's got black on. Now, for whatever reason, the only thing that is lit, it's lit bright enough to be seen here. Like
Yeah.
maybe, I don't know if they're being shot through a door or something like that, but the outline of the whole thing uh, is her dress, her coat.
Yeah.
Um, Now, in my opinion, a lot of Vivian Mayer's photos, some of that stuff wasn't even developed until after her death. There are tons of empty, exposed rolls of film that nobody had ever developed.
Hmm.
And I spent a lot of time in the darkroom, and this looks a little bit darkroom manipulated, which is fine, but I don't think you would have had this vivid of an image in her dress
So
of
actually,
the two
two
of the
photos.
of the two girls.
Yeah.
But it works really well.
Yeah. So somebody has manipulated after her death.
Yeah, and see, that's what I wonder about too. Like when you used to do masking with photos with the photo with in a dark room, so you would have an easel, and you would have like a easel would usually be like white, and you would see the image on the easel. So what you could do is you could put a piece of cardboard on the easel and draw a line around it with a pencil or a pen.
Yeah.
Then you could cut that out with an X-Acto knife or a pair of scissors or something like that, then you could actually, and if you did that, if you take a look around it, you can sort of see the outline around the edges at the bottom. Like maybe they just use a rectangular
Or
hole.
maybe I was thinking maybe they made two photos and they printed one photo and cut out the other one and put it on onwards and made another photo again.
That's pretty much what you do, except you only got the same photo. You got the same piece of photo paper there. So they used that mask that there was a hole that they exposed for the two women to be exposed. So if that's all that was done, and if you process the paper, all you would see would be that rectangular piece of the two women with everything white on the outside. Now, what they did then was they put the piece of cardboard back over where the women were. You had to make sure that
Right.
registration was just right. And the only way to really do that was do it in reverse by have a hole first over that and then put the piece of cardboard in. Then you have the exact positioning. Then you put the bigger piece of cardboard that surrounds it around that. Then you pull the single piece out to expose the two women in the middle. I'm certain that that's what they did in this particular case.
You can see a difference in the legs as well, huh?
Yes.
Because there's one leg is more dark than the other one.
But again, this could also be, they could have been in a doorway because that rectangle in the bright rectangle at the bottom, that's brighter. Can you see what I'm talking about? Just above
Yeah.
her ankles. That could be just because that was being shot through a doorway.
Yeah. But nice because she was living uh, when she died in 1980 or something. Or...
Something like that, yeah. And this was in 1954. So 54, she might have actually had this processed, but I don't think she did her own darkroom work. So,
Mhm.
but that would be exactly the kind of stuff that people back in that day would do.
Yeah.
Because my grandfather used to do that kind of stuff. He had a picture framed, and I don't know whatever happened to it, where he made it so he was a fisherman. He loved to fish, but he was sitting on a tea kettle, fishing out of a teacup in his kitchen. And he used that masking technique. Now, if I
Yeah.
looked at it, I haven't seen that photo since like 1969. And maybe if I looked at it again, I go, oh, he did a crappy job of that, or something. I don't know, but I've always remembered that picture of him framed in his living room.
Yeah, everybody was doing strange things then. Eh?
Yeah, it was fun. I mean, he had to do something.
Yeah,
Wonder if I had any other. Oh yeah, the Margaret Bork White shot.
yeah.
She's famous for. If you've seen the photos of her where she's crawled out onto this gargoyle in New York City. Most people have seen that one. But she
Mhm.
obviously had to be in a helicopter or something to get this shot. This is in
Because
1950.
it's very high, eh? This
Yeah,
statue.
and that's yeah, this is the year I was born.
1952.
Yep. I thought that was a fascinating shot.
Yeah,
That's 1938. Helen Levitt.
yeah.
So it almost looks like there's three children holding hands.
Nowadays you cannot shoot children any longer.
Yeah, that's right. I think women can get away with it better than men can.
Yeah, for women it's more
Yeah.
a small one.
Penn Station.
This is New York.
Yes, Penn Station, New York. Uh, there's a great history of Penn Station. There's a great documentary about it too. But one thing I like about it, and generally, excuse me, generally you want to have more, you know, geometry correction in a shot like this, which
Yeah.
is hard to do. You could with what view cameras with swings and tilts, if with a camera where are you familiar with what I'm talking about with that?
Mhm.
Where you take the lens board and you can tilt the lens board this way or up and down to make it so it's more straight, which obviously this wasn't done here.
Tilt shift. Yeah.
Yeah. And you can do that a little bit in the dark room too, but you have to use a tight f-stop because the image, it's just like depth of field in the dark room.
Yeah.
You have to have and but
And
that
you
I think I like this uh bat perspective or
nice,
perspective.
nice atmosphere as well, huh? So
Yes.
the light is coming through the glass. I like this kind of surroundings, stations.
This could be, I mean, that's a train station, so there could be smoke from this train station. But it could also be cigarette smokes,
Yeah.
cigarette smoke back then. It's Edward Steichen in 1930.
Wow. Strange use, eh?
So, and he was also 1930. That's a pretty darn sharp, crispy photo.
Yeah.
So he's being particularly geeky working on this. And this is probably a contact print. So probably wasn't taken through an enlarger at all.
Man Ray. Wow. 1922.
Yeah. So what are your thoughts on this? What happened here?
Yeah, it's solarization, huh?
Yeah, he's famous for that. I don't know. Maybe he did a little bit on this.
Yeah, I think a little bit, yes.
Yeah. But notice there are scratches and stuff.
Yeah.
And I think the scratches are from the emulsion on the film.
Mhm. But it's real black, eh?
Yeah. Here's Paul
Mostly,
Strand.
mostly we are afraid to make so much black in a photo, but
Yeah, without a good reason for it.
yeah,
But this is
yeah,
back in 1922, where these guys were just, who knows what rules were they back then, you know?
yeah. There
They
were
were
no
still
rules.
hashing out that stuff.
Yeah, yeah. I have a book of him here as well. Very nice.
Here's Paul Strand, Wall Street, New York.
Wow.
Great angle of light. All the men with the hats on, they had now you had the
Shadows.
converging lines of those monolithic windows.
Very large shadows, huh?
Yeah.
Nice.
And what else do I have in here? Elliot Erwitt. And here you're talking about somebody holding still with some ICM in the background.
Yeah. When you look at a photo like this, you think it's easy, but it's not so easy.
No,
Because you have to wait for a moment, and you don't have you cannot have a long shutter or a short shutter.
right.
So how you do that?
Well, I think for some people like Elliot Erwitt, that guy, he's got crazy great photos. I think he's just got a natural talent for it. Among others, not just Elliot Erwitt, but other photographers. I mean,
Yeah, it's practicing, eh?
yeah. And that's all digital. So these guys were shooting rolls of film. I don't even
Yeah.
back whenever that was. I don't even know if they had a 36, like probably had 20 or 24 exposures in a roll. You had to keep changing. It's not digital where you can go out and shoot 2,000
Yeah.
photos.
And the problem is you cannot develop directly. You have to wait 1 or 2 weeks till it's ready, and then you have to make a choice what's good and what's not good.
Yeah, if you were a famous photographer, you could drop it off at the office and there would be a dark room there and they could process the stuff within an hour. But still,
But we are working more easy.
oh
So
sure,
uh,
absolutely.
if it's not good, I watch at my screen and I try something else.
Diane Arbus.
Oh yeah, with hands.
That's a very nice sharp photo. Obvious a flash bulb. not just a artificial light, but poof, one of those
Yeah,
flash bulbs went off, you know?
yeah, you can see. But because they are not standing at the wall, there's not too much shadows, not too much
No,
of the flash.
it's probably the flash bulb that's on the camera, like a graph light, a
Hmm?
Graflex press camera.
You can see in the right corner, you can see some reflection.
Yeah.
It's maybe a balloon or something.
And a flash back then, when you use flash bulbs, the flash bulb had to peak out. It's not when you have an electronic flash. It flashes suddenly in like a 30 thousandth of a second or thousandth of a second or something like that.
Yeah,
Flash bulb takes like that long anyway to get up to maximum brightness.
yeah.
So there's a minor delay with the when you press the shutter when your camera is hooked up with a what they used to be FP was the number no yeah F an FP mount and then that delay would kick in with the shutter. Well, a buddy of mine and I used to have a camera like that. It had FP and X plugs for a sync cord, and for electronic flash you put X in there so you had a direct link to the shutter. So as soon as it shuttered, boom, the flash went off.
Okay.
He shot a queen contest, a 4-H queen contest, with his flash plugged into the FP, and every one of his shots were only half exposed, the bottom half,
Wow.
because of that delay.
Yeah, yeah,
So he got, I mean, they were really disappointed with this queen contest.
yeah.
In fact, I got the queen contest the next year. That was like
Yeah.
1986 or something like that. But they had there's a camera shop in Indianapolis where if you brought your camera in, like was the Mamiya 645 was the same camera he used. They said you want to get that thing shorted out so you never have that FP again. Because I was afraid I was always just plugging in the wrong way.
Hmm.
Mm,
Wow. Dubiot. David Dubiot. What's this? Lisa,
pretty sure it's an
wave.
iceberg when the water, like the tide or something has come in, or maybe this waves that catch up on it and it's slowly dissolving.
You never see it like this.
Me?
You no, you never. When you see waves, you see the water comes coming up, but like this,
Yeah.
you cannot imagine it's like this.
Yeah. So he's got his camera immersed halfway in water.
Oh yeah,
So that's
yeah,
that's a very unique style.
yeah,
Just anybody could do it if you had an underwater camera,
yeah.
but that's easier said than done. Now you can get cameras. When I was on a tour through Greenland, and one of the guides he had one, I think it was a Samsung phone. He just plunged it down in the water, in the salt water, and was taking pictures of a jellyfish.
Wow.
And the camera is designed to do that. And I'm going to Google something here. Let me see. This is a guy. He died about a year and a half ago. He's a friend of mine. He took these photos and trying to find. He was famous for shooting motorcycle photos.
Yeah, you can see
Yeah, that's him right there, Philippe Vermees. Like,
in a studio.
yeah, in Paris. Well, it's not going to go. But anyway, the I'm trying to find the one, his most famous one. Where is it? But he used view cameras all the time.
Okay.
And I was at his studio. Of course, he died, and we went to visit his wife back in October. We had dinner at their house, and I never did get to go in and look in the studio. We had dinner, and the next thing we know, we were back at our hotel.
I was thinking view cameras. This is cameras with a viewfinder, or not?
A camera that has, usually you have the type of big, great big camera that's got the bellows on the front, and you take a piece of a glass negative, or not glass, a glass, like you have a plate where the film is held in like a canister that
Yeah.
you slide in, and you usually have, often you'll have a black kind of cloak that you put over you while you focus on a ground glass.
Okay. Yeah.
And now it's not going to show up. Anyway, I was going to show some of his photos, but for whatever reason, it's not coming
No.
up. But I was trying to get him to sign up for Flickr. He's all fired up to do it, but he died like about 6 months after that.
Okay. There are a lot of famous photographers in Flickr.
Yes. He would have been right at home there. Um, but you can see the shot here. That's Peter Fonda on the Harley Davidson that he used in the movie.
Oh,
Uh, what the name of that movie with?
hmm.
You know what I'm talking about. We had the American flag painted up on it with Dennis Hopper. But okay, I'm going to stop sharing.
There we are again.
So now you're working on your project. Now, when you talk about a project, because it looks to me like you've got running, you got people crossing the street, because you're doing street photography mostly.
Hmm.
I mean, I guess you could say uh, with intentional camera movement, but you like to go out and do things out on the street. Now, where I'll go out, like say if I'm deciding I'm going to take macro photography and I'm looking for wildflowers up in the Continental Divide and in Denver, Colorado, these gorgeous wildflowers.
Hmm.
So I got my macro all set, and then I walk 15 feet and then look up, and there's this spectacular landscape.
Yeah.
So here I am taking out my macro lens off, putting on my wide angle lens. So you just never know when you get in that frame of mind. Yeah, it's good to be able to focus on one particular type of photography,
Mhm.
but sometimes there something is in front of you. I mean,
Yeah.
that's kind of an obvious example of why, yeah, sure, you want to do macro photography and you want to get pictures of the landscape too, and when you have a mountain scene. But
Now, I'm, let's say, mostly I'm now focused on what I'm going to do. So when you are focused, then you know what kind of lens you need.
yep.
Then you go with one lens and just, but mostly I have another lens in my bag. So if it's not there, or if I want something else, I have a reserve in my bag. But mostly when I go only just for a walk, just without the intention to do something, I go with one lens.
And when I travel, especially when I'm traveling somewhere like a city, like when I was in Paris in October, if I'm in London or something, or Rome, I take one camera, one lens, and a tripod.
Mhm.
I try to avoid taking a camera bag.
Yeah.
I try to keep it light. For one reason, I used to carry a real heavy camera bag with all my lenses and stuff like that. Like I had a 60-pound camera bag, 40-pound camera bag. I tripped and fell in Boston and broke my left elbow in 11 places.
Wow.
Had it not been for that backpack, I probably just would have had a skinned elbow.
Mhm.
So I'm kind of reluctant to carry heavy backpacks around.
Yeah.
So now I find it's much more liberating just to have one camera.
Yeah.
And one lens,
You use prime lenses or you use zoom
well,
lenses?
I really need, I probably want to go with a 50, but right now I use a 24 to 120.
Mhm.
That's what I shoot most of the time on, especially with cities. That seems as versatile as can be. I would like to get a little bit more detail with the prime lens. So, but I do get that lens I've got is very sharp. It's the Nikkor 24 to 120. Um, and it's the uh, mirrorless version, the Z version. And there
Well,
is a difference between the Z version and the ED.
it is easy to have more lenses, but it's difficult to make a choice.
Yeah.
So why don't you not go in the early days? They have no more than one lens, I think.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Oftentimes they have fixed lenses too and things.
You have to do it with what you have.
Yeah.
So
And
you can make portraits with a 28 millimeters as well. If it's necessary, you can do it.
yeah, depends on how low you are. If you're looking up somebody's nose
Yeah,
with a
yeah,
24
yeah.
millimeter, forget it.
And afterwards you can uh, if the lines are converting, well, it's like that. You have to do it with that, and then you have to edit a little bit more.
Well, oftentimes the converging lines, especially with the 24, can be nice.
Hmm.
Uh, and especially if you get a twist. Sometimes the twist works, the converging lines work, but then if you try to straighten them, if there's a twist, if the camera is not parallel to the plane of what you're looking at, and then it's also tilted up or down, that twist is irreconcilable when you try to actually straighten things out.
But on your question, it's different when you go for a holiday or when you are at home and you go to a next city.
Yeah,
Because when you go to the next city, you can do it tomorrow again, I think.
yeah. Like I
Uh,
have easy access to Indianapolis. It's like 40 miles from here, and I got some pretty photogenic places.
so it's easier to make a choice when you are you go to a city next to you than when you go for a holiday. But because when you go for a holiday, you don't know what you are going to meet.
Right. Well, yeah, when I go on the cruise to Iceland, it was a photography oriented cruise. So I brought my 200 to 500 millimeter lens, my wide angle, my tripod, everything I could think of to bring. And and I was in a ship, so I had a cabin. I can keep all this stuff, and then decide what I'm going to take with me on the day trips. But yeah, if you're just out walking, driving somewhere, or a train or something like that, you don't want to carry that much equipment, or unless you have an assistant to carry it for you. And then you have to worry about your assistant. It's
Yeah.
keeping them busy.
Yeah, for example, when I went to the station, well, I know I wanted to make a ICM shot, and I didn't have, or I want to have movement in my shot, but not too much. So how am I going to do it? Because a tripod was not allowed. So I
Right.
went down to the floor, and I just when I took the shot, I took out my breath and well, I just tried to have to be steady and make the shot. So you have to handle it how it is.
Now, one thing you could do, because I'm an old guy and you're not exactly a young guy, so you could get away with some big long walking stick.
Mhm.
You could probably brace your camera on it, where a young guy says, you can't have that in here.
I was thinking I you in a tripod is not allowed, but
Yeah,
you have one a tripod with one stick as well, eh? So maybe next time when I go there, I do the stick
yeah,
in my suitcase because nobody will say something maybe
yeah.
when you have this.
And I found too that if you press your finger on the camera, no matter how careful you are, you're going to be a little bit of jitter. But if you press it down once and hold it for multiple shots,
Yeah,
those subsequent shots won't have that jitter.
no.
And not to mention the fact if you do 10 of them, one of them is going to probably be as good as the tripod shot.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
just so I think rapid fire is important. At least it helps increase the chances of you getting a good photo.
Yeah, I've done fast fashion shots as well, and how do you say that in the where the girls are walking in the uh, for the mode. Now they use the tripod with
Monopod.
one feet as well,
Hmm.
monopod.
Yeah, monopod.
They don't use because there is not too much room for them for the
Yeah,
because everybody is doing like that.
yeah. Oh yeah, I went to Indiana State Fair last year to get some amusement park rides. That was so crowded. They allowed tripods, but it was so crowded. People were tripping over my tripod, and I didn't want to have somebody to fall, so I could not use my tripod at all. It was that crowded.
And I don't want to be in the picture, so mostly I look at my screen downwards, and then I make the picture.
Hmm.
So not looking in the photo in in the camera
Yeah,
because you don't want to spill your shot.
yeah. And oftentimes, if you don't want people to think you're taking a picture, you can look down, put your LCD screen up and look down and pretend like you're fiddling with something else,
Yeah,
and they won't think you're taking their picture.
yeah, it's art. So
So what would you say your specialty is? I keep coughing here. Excuse me. Find a cough drop. What would you say specialty is? Like street photography?
nowadays, yes.
Because you do more ICM than you used to.
Hmm. I did ICM. I've done in 2022. I've done only a half a year ICM, nothing more. Just moving my camera.
And
So now I'm sometimes falling back on this technique. And as in a way, I like it, but in another way, it's too blurry and too, I don't know, too much. Uh, the the pictures are not saying too much. So I want a bit blur and a bit ICM, but not everything. There are people who are doing only abstract trees like that or that, or but this is not my thing.
yeah, I was trying to do an ICM with a flowers today. It was the other day, and I've got this device here. It's like
Oh
a
yeah.
focusing slider. And what I was doing, this was a macro too, so but I could turn it with like a 20-second exposure. And so far I haven't gotten that good a result, but it's a very smooth motion.
Mhm.
And I've often wonder about if you get one of those devices where the camera moves, it's got an electric motor.
Mhm.
That might be kind of fun to experiment with. Because if you get, and have you ever experimented with twisting the camera?
Yeah, as well, and zooming as well.
Mhm.
I've done one time. I've done that in a car.
Yeah,
When, uh, I was sitting next to the driver, and then when you see photos like that, it's like the trees are coming to you, eh?
yeah.
It's very strange.
I've done that too, and it's fun to do it outside of train windows.
Mhm. Oh yeah.
No, because you start thinking about ICM, and you sometimes, do you ever get feeling like, I don't know what to think of anymore? I get stuck. So do you move into some other mode, like straight street photography or something else?
Now, street photography, I always did before. I always did, but I've done a lot of things. So I've done fashion photography, uh, but more models. Sometimes I put I made advertisements on Facebook, and the girl for making photographs of girls who are in the age of 25, 20, 25. So there, I made a lot of experience as well. But yeah, nowadays I don't do that any longer. So
Okay, what would be, I think, I don't know if we talked about this before. Would your goal be to make money at photography or just to improve your skill?
improve my skill, I think, because
Me too.
when you want to make money, then you have to do things for people that you don't want.
You have to spend a lot more time trying to figure out how to make money than taking photography.
Yeah,
And then you end up stuff that's not really that interesting to you.
no, it could be, I think, but first thing, I don't need the money. Next, I want to practice photography. And if you are uh, doing things like that, then you cannot practice your own thing.
Yes.
You have to do what everybody wants to. For example, here I was in last April, May in a horse driving game where photographers are making photos and they ask money for their photos. But well, if you're going to do like things like that, it give you $3 or $4 for one photo. So then you cannot earn money from that, or you have to do something else with horses. But there are a lot of boys and girls who want photos from their horse. But then what's playing as well is they want, for example, romantic photographs of their horse. This is not my thing. I don't want to make a heart or I don't know a black background for a horse or
Well, they're probably talking about real fuzzy, real softening stuff and
this is not my
dreamy like.
thing. But you can earn money if you know how to do this.
Yeah.
Okay, to make a romantic atmosphere. So go with a horse in a field with flowers, or go. You make him very nice, and then the girl have to kiss the horse.
I think if you really liked horses and were familiar with horses, that probably be a fun job. You probably
Yeah,
loved it, even if you weren't getting paid for it. Oh yeah, it's a horse. I want to take pictures of a horse.
and
But
in this kind of stuff, you can earn money, I think, because then you can ask maybe 100 or 200 for a session.
yeah,
But but if you are not happy with that, well, you cannot carry that.
and if you get good at it, the next thing you know, you have to do that every day.
Yeah.
Yeah, all I want to do is try to increase my skill, and I feel like I'm an artist, so I get the satisfaction. But the main
Mm.
thing is, it's just so much fun.
Yeah.
You can get so wrapped up in it. I think it's my father died of complications of Alzheimer's disease, so I want to try to keep my brain sharp. And I think, and then and I used to be a computer programmer, and once I retired from that, I don't do that anymore. But now I can zero in on photography, and there's so much stuff to think about.
Yeah, that's true. But I think so as well. But my wife still tells me that sometimes she says, "Well, you have kind of Alzheimer because I forget the gas or I forget." But then I say, "Well, in my photographs, I don't have Alzheimer."
Yeah. Well, that's funny. Funny you mentioned that. Philippe Vermez, the friend of mine who died with the specialist in photographs, he was having Alzheimer's trouble, But that guy knew exactly where every photo we ever took, what their name was, and knew how to catalog them and stuff like that. He was just razor sharp with that stuff. But he couldn't remember where he's supposed to go to eat, you know.
Yeah, I was this week I was watching television, and there was a man who was telling about his Alzheimer, and he told, well, he was just doing something in the house, and then he don't know why, but he put on the gas, four gases, and somebody told him, well, you have to put on the gas. He said, I don't remember. So he was just talking normally, but he don't remember that he has turned on the gas.
That's a dangerous
And
situation, man.
he is just normal as everybody else.
Yeah. Yeah, my wife too says, you mean you don't remember I told you that? I go, I don't remember you saying that at all. She'll give me this look, you know.
Yeah. So somebody else tells him that he has done it, and
Yeah,
he forgot about it.
time to shut the gas off the stove anyway.
Normally, I forget something, but at least I know I have forgotten it. But
Yeah.
he don't know he has done it.
Yeah. Like one thing my father did, I used to run a roller skating rink with him, and we would have sometimes the summertime we would have these times when a lot of old people would come out, and we didn't really need to have a coat check or anything, so they would just leave their shoes and jacket and their car keys inside their shoe or something like that. There's probably like 30 people there skating. So my dad came, whatever came for reason he came up, he took everybody's car keys out of their shoes and went home. So everybody was going to go home. Nobody had any keys. So my stepmother found the keys and she called, he's got all these keys, you know. Why did he do that? Who knows?
Yeah.
It was probably a good idea for him to do that at the time.
Yeah. But the sun, yeah, you seem to have something in your head. You forget, or your electricity is not good. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I think as you get older too, you don't have, you just, there's just so much stuff to think about, you know? And I think it's good when you get older, you can slow down. Your hormones have gone down to the point where you're no longer thinking about that one thing as much as you used to. So then you can really concentrate on something finally,
Yeah, 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 that's
like
true.
photography.
Yeah.
Well, we're going on 3 o'clock, so I'm going to do the same
Hey,
thing next week, and I'm going to post a video. Excuse me, Ken. But before this time tomorrow,
okay.
and see if I'm going to see if I can
It's,
drum up anybody else to come along too. But it's
it's
good for just to have a one-on-one.
yeah, yeah, very nice.
Yes,
Next week maybe we are with three again, and then we see,
yeah,
or maybe more.
yeah,
Maybe Fernando. I don't know about him, but
yeah. He seemed enthusiastic to do it. I'll have to rattle his cage.
yeah.
So, so anyway, I'm going to get off here before I start in a coughing fit again. So,
Okay. Thank you very
yeah,
much. Bye
we'll see you.
bye.
Great to see you. Bye.
See you later.